Denis Martin Donaldson was a volunteer in the Provisional Irish Republican Army and a member of Sinn Féin who was murdered following his exposure, in December 2005 as an informer in the employ of MI5 and the Special Branch of the Police Service of Northern Ireland. It was initially believed that the Provisional IRA were responsible for his killing, although the Real IRA claimed responsibility for his murder. Almost 3 years later, his friendship with the French writer and journalist Sorj Chalandon inspired 2 novels, My Traitor, published in 2008, and Return to Killybegs, published in 2011. Paramilitary and political career. Donaldson had a long history of involvement in Irish republicanism. He joined the Irish Republican Army in the mid-1960s while still in his teens, well before the start of the Troubles, according to his former friend, Jim Gibney, writing in the Irish News. He was a local hero in Short Strand in 1970 because he took part in the gun battle between Ulster Loyalists and Irish nationalists at St. Matthew's Chapel. He was a friend of IRA hunger striker Bobby Sands, and the 2 men served time together in Long Kesh for paramilitary offences in the 1970s. Donaldson has been accused by an unnamed Republican source of being part of the IRA team that carried out the Le Mans restaurant bombing in 1978, one of the most notorious bomb attacks of the Troubles. In 1981 he was arrested by French authorities at Orly Airport, along with fellow IRA volunteer William Blue Kelly. The duo were using false passports, and Donaldson said that they were returning from a guerrilla training camp in Lebanon. At the 1983 general election, Donaldson was the Sinn Féin candidate in Belfast East. In the late 1980s, he travelled to Lebanon again and held talks with both Lebanese Shia militias, Hezbollah and Amal, in an effort to secure the freedom of the Irish hostage Brian Keenan. As the Sinn Féin leadership under Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness turned toward a peace process strategy, Donaldson was dispatched to New York City, where he helped establish Friends of Sinn Féin, an organization that solicited mainstream political and financial support for the new strategy while attempting to isolate hardline activists in Irish Northern Aid and other support organizations in the U.S. Martin Galvin, a Bronx-based Irish-American attorney and future dissident Republican, later claimed that he had warned the Republican movement's leadership that he suspected Donaldson of being a British government informer. In the early 2000s, Donaldson was appointed Sinn Féin's Northern Ireland Assembly Group Administrator in Parliament Buildings. In October 2002, he was arrested in a raid on the Sinn Féin offices as part of a high-profile Police Service of Northern Ireland investigation into an alleged Republican spy ring, the so-called Stormont Gate affair. In December 2005, the Public Prosecution Service for Northern Ireland dropped the espionage charges against Donaldson and 2 other men on the grounds that it would not be in the public interest to proceed with the case. British agent. On the 16th of December 2005, Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams announced to a press conference in Dublin that Donaldson had been a spy in the pay of British intelligence. This was confirmed by Donaldson in a statement which he read out on RTE, the Irish state broadcaster, shortly afterwards. He stated that he was recruited after compromising himself during a vulnerable time in his life, but did not specify why he was vulnerable or why he would risk his life as a mole for British intelligence in an area such as West Belfast. Donaldson's daughter Jane is married to Kieran Kearney, who was arrested along with Donaldson in the Stormont Gate affair. The couple had 2 young daughters at the time of the arrest. Kearney is a son of the civil rights and McBride Principles campaigner Oliver Kearney. On the 19th of March 2000, 2006, Hugh Jordan, a journalist for the Sunday World, tracked him down to an isolated pre-famine cottage near Glenties, County Donegal. The dwelling had not been modernized and so there was no running water or electricity. Death. On the 4th of April 2006, Donaldson was found shot dead inside his cottage, where he had been living for several months. The extended Donaldson family had used it as a holiday retreat for several years. Gardaí said they had been aware of his presence since January and they had warned him of a threat to his life. They had offered him protection, but he refused it and exchanged phone numbers with him. The cottage was located in the townland of Classy, 8 kilometers from the village of Glenties on the road to Ducherry. The last person he is believed to have spoken to was Tim Cranley, a census taker, who spoke to him in the cottage around 8:30 p.m. on the previous day. His body was found by Gardaí about 5 p.m. after a passerby reported seeing a broken window and a smashed-in door. Chief Superintendent Terry McGinn, the local Garda commander, said that the cottage belonged to Donaldson's son-in-law Kieran Kearney and that members of his family had been visiting him in the days before his death. A statement by Northern Ireland's Secretary of State Peter Hain referred to his death as a barbaric act, while Prime Minister Bertie Ahern condemned the brutal murder of Donaldson. 2 shotgun cartridges were found at the threshold of the cottage and a post-mortem revealed that he had died from a shotgun blast to the chest. While Minister for Justice, Equality and Law Reform Michael McDowell initially said that Donaldson had been shot in the head, his right hand was also badly damaged by a gunshot. The Provisional IRA issued a one-line statement saying that it had no involvement whatsoever with the murder. The murder was also condemned by Sinn Féin leader Gerry Adams. The Democratic Unionist Party leader Ian Paisley blamed Republicans for the killing, saying that eyes will be turned towards IRA. Sinn Féin on this issue. In May 2005, Minister McDowell advised a U.S. Special Envoy to Northern Ireland that he believed the outing of Donaldson as an informant was a clear message from the British government that it had another, more valuable, source of information within the Republican leadership. On the 8th of April 2006, Donaldson was buried in Belfast City Cemetery, rather than at Milltown Cemetery, the more common burial place for Republicans. In February 2009, Gardaí announced they had a new lead in the inquiry into his death. On the 12th of April 2009, the Real IRA claimed responsibility for his death. In April 2011, 2 arrests were made in County Donegal by the Guard's Special Detective Unit in connection with the murder of a 69-year-old man and a 31-year-old man. They were subsequently released without charge. The Garda and PSNI murder investigation is ongoing.